Hey everybody, and welcome back to StokerReview.com for another cigar review. And this time I'm doing the new EP Carrillo Edicion Limitada for 2012. Now this is a 6.5 by 56 cigar that is a continuation of the Edicion Limitada lines that EP Carrillo is putting out every year. And if you followed me in the past, you would know last year's 2011 called the Dark Ritual was one of my absolute favorite cigars of all time. I think it's definitely one of the in my top 10 forever. I just one I really love. So I was really excited when I saw this new release come out about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was able to get on the phone with my buddy Mikey at Buckhead because he got a shipment in pretty quick before some other people did. He was gracious enough to send me a 5-pack. Now, this cigar is it's Dominican made by EP Carrillo with a Connecticut Broadleaf wrapper, a Brazilian binder, and Nicaraguan filler. Now let's take a look at this thing. The MSRP on these is about 15 bucks. Look at the end of that there. Little focus. Nice. Get you a look at the cap here. Nice, well made. You can see it's got a pretty nice little oily sheen to it. Real nice. They average about 15 bucks a piece. Right now I'm on Smoke Insight, one of our sponsors, and they actually got a 10 count box, which is what they normally come in the Edicion Limitadas anyway, for about 135 bucks a pop, or a 5-pack for 75 bucks. So that's about 15 bucks a stick, which is it's about right for Edicion Limitada, maybe a little bit high, but anyway, we'll see how this thing goes. Really rich, kind of a barnyard smell to it. Real earthy woodiness to it. Pretty nice. Anyway, go ahead and cut the cap off this thing. Use an old 12-year-old Zycar cutter here. Cut it like a champ. Has a somewhat tight draw. It's kind of like that milkshake draw I've mentioned before, but a little bit more resistant than that. But it's not bad though at all. Getting a real rich flavor just off the cold draw. It's nice, rich, woody coffee flavor to it. A little bit of sweetness. So far, so good. Real nice. Let me light this thing up. Flame. Using my Tech lighter from Zycar. It's a really good lighter. I like how it's got the big fuel cell. You can see through it. But I've noticed that with there's got a big round wheel at the bottom. That when I'm holding it, lighting it like that, trying to move the lighter around in my hand, my bottom fingers actually will move this dial, so it turns itself down sometimes. So that's what just happened. You see, pretty dense smoke comes off this cigar. Of course, right when this cigar starts, it kind of picks up where that cold draw left off. It's really strong woody leather notes with a nice white pepper blast on it. And I'm getting a sweetness is kind of in the background. It's there, kind of an accent, but it's not really in the forefront or nothing like that. I am picking up kind of like a cocoa bitterness to it too. But the bitterness is kind of another accent to the basically the woody, leathery flavors I'm getting, and the white pepper that I'm picking up. That's hits you right in the palate. That even right now, I'm getting that pepper note in the back of the palate. Still kind of tingles back there. It's that sweetness is almost like a kind of like a burnt sugar almost to it. It's like it's sweet, but it's a little bit more kind of more of a deeper, more, I don't know how to put this. Let me think of that one a while, and I'll try to explain that in a more appropriate manner. But it's kind of like, reminds me of a kind of like a melted sugar kind of a thing, like raw sugar, kind of that deeper, richer type of a sugar, turbinado or something like that. If you've ever had a good way to think about this, like kind of like Cuban coffee, the way, you know, it's got that real rich sweetness, but the bitterness of that strong coffee. I'm getting a lot of notes, the same notes that I would get from Cuban coffee, I'm kind of getting in this from the very beginning, which is really cool because Cuban coffee is one of my favorite things ever in the world. I could run off that alone all day long. Real rich right off the start. Anyway, I'm going to smoke this probably to the halfway point, and I'll be back to let you know how it is. See you in a second. Everybody, I'm back. You can see I'm about to the halfway point now. Now, I'm still getting that coffee and that pepper note. That's probably like the strongest one, and the woody note also. They're three main flavors that I get off this cigar. Now, remember before I said like kind of like that, have that sweetness in there, kind of like that burnt sugar that reminds me of with that coffee. It reminds me a lot like kind of like of a Cuban coffee. That just a really rich, a deep and rich flavor of the bitter coffee and that really raw sugar that they use, and kind of mash the bottom with the coffee or whatever, however they make it, to make that really rich, deep, sweet coffee. And I'm still getting that. Actually, that's probably the main note now. That and the wood. Now you get that pepper kind of on the finish of the cigar, which it has a really long finish on it also. But when you retrohale the cigar, you really get a huge blast of pepper. So this is one you probably want to retrohale to get all the flavors out of this cigar. But for me, I can't retrohale a whole mouthful of smoke because it burns. You know, that black pepper really comes through really hard and fast when I retrohale the cigar. But I'm really, really digging that sweet, bitter coffee note that I'm getting in the cigar. And like I said, right now, that's probably the dominant note. And the woodiness that's on there, and that pepper, the woodiness is kind of in there, kind of kind of like, almost like a background noise in a way. And that pepper comes later on in the back of the palate, kind of as a finish of the cigar, the flavors. So it's going really nice. Look at the burn. The burn's a little bit kind of crooked, kind of crazy, but it's not too bad though. Really isn't. I mean, there's no touch-ups or nothing on that. Just kind of a wavy burn, but nonetheless, you know, it's doing really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna finish this cigar off. I'll let you know how it is. See you in a second. Hey everybody, you can see I'm at the end of the cigar now. Right, probably when I went off camera, I started, you know, puffing away again. I started getting a kind of a bitter chocolate note on the cigar that kind of went around with the rest of the notes I was getting, and that's really developed through the whole rest of this cigar. Now, it could have been part of that sweetness that I was getting before, kind of that bitter coffee, you know, raw sugar kind of sweetness I was getting. That was kind of, it was kind of like a Cuban coffee, it reminded me of Cuban coffee. But as it went on, I was still getting that coffee note, but the sweetness has kind of been replaced by that chocolate note in a way. So at the end of the cigar, The dominant notes are the woodiness, which is kind of one of the core flavors I'm getting through the whole cigar. I'm still getting that bitter coffee. The sweetness is kind of turned more into like a chocolate note from probably right at about the midway point on. It's almost like it was kind of hidden in the first part of the cigar, and it kind of just started blossoming out from that point on out. Because like right now I'm getting it. It's like almost like a dominant note all the way into the cigar. So I mean, it's a really tasty cigar. I really like these. I do think it is box worthy, even though it's, you know, $15 a stick. That's a lot for a cigar. But you do get a lot of bang for your buck. There's a lot of rich flavors to the cigar. But on that note, I do still much prefer the Dark Ritual over this cigar. I don't think it's at the same level as the Dark Ritual was, but I do think it's a quality stick. So for me, I definitely would. I'm going to buy a box of these probably after Christmas if there's any left, which there should be. But it just has a really nice, rich flavor. The only problem I had with the cigar is probably on the final third, I did have several relights. It's almost like it was starting getting a little bit damp. So, and here in South Mississippi, we got a cold front coming through. But it's not here yet. So it's a lot of moist air that's coming in off the Gulf, so it could be that as it's burned down. So I'm not really blaming it on the cigar, because the other cigars I've had, from what I got from Mike from Buckhead, they didn't have this problem at all. But I was smoking them actually at the cigar shop in Biloxi, Mississippi, inside an air-conditioned room, you know, or a climate-controlled area. So I'm kind of really blaming that towards the weather, because it is very humid here, and it had rained about 3 hours ago, and it's still damp out there. So I'm thinking maybe that could be one of the main reasons why I was having those relight issues. But other than that, it smoked really well. A lot of smoke came off the cigar. Really easy to enjoy and smoke this cigar with this rich of flavors. Then I really like the size of the cigar. I think with the flavors as big and bold and rich as they are, I really do think a larger ring gauge really helps open that up to get the full flavor on your palate. So I'm really liking the size that Ernie and Ernesto are putting in these Edicion Limitadas, the larger ring gauge cigars. So basically, it's like almost like a Grand Toro with their size, but it's a really good cigar. Like I said, I don't prefer it over the Dark Ritual. But the Dark Ritual to me, like I said, it's one of the best cigars I've ever had. I just think it's an outstanding smoke. So it's kind of hard to reach that if that means it as a benchmark. So just on its own, it's a very good quality stick. But to be honest, besides the inaugural edition 2009 when it first came out, I've loved everything that EP Carrillo has put out under its own name. The core line, the short runs, all the different variations of the Edicion Limitada. I mean, the Maduros, the Cardinals, outstanding. I pretty much have kind of almost becoming a fanboy of EP Carrillo, because I just think they're all outstanding cigars. Now, to me, like the inaugural 2009, to me it was a little bit too mild and just didn't have the flavor that I thought it should. Maybe that's because when you think of EP Carrillo, you think of the Old La Gloria, which is kind of a real bold, strong cigar. But I'm actually hearing now that people that bought boxes of them that are smoking them now, even the people that didn't really care for them back then like I did, are saying they're smoking amazing now, and they love them. But they hated them when they first came out. So, which brings me to another point, ageability on the cigar. I think there's a huge ageability for this cigar. I think in a few years they'll even be more outstanding. I think they'll even be more richer. I think they'll be a little bit more rounded. So what my plans are with this cigar is I want to buy a box of these. I'm going to put them up. I'm going to leave them up for probably, you know, at least 2 years and come back and try them again, which I have done with the Dark Rituals. I've actually got almost 2 boxes of Dark Rituals. One I put up and I'm not going to touch it for a while. One that I bring out and smoke every now and then, just to keep checking the progression of the aging on those cigars. So that might be something to consider too if you snag on these boxes, or at least maybe just smoke them slow and kind of pace yourself throughout, you know, a year or two and see how they do for you. You know, kind of like if you like them now, smoke them now. But to me, I think they'll even get better with more age on them. So only time will tell. We'll see how that goes. So on that note, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.